Currently we're at Atlantic Beach today. We've got the Lumix S5iix out on the crane, Zhiyun crane, and we're just gonna be getting some 30 frames per second shots, all on the gimbal. We'll also be getting some photos, and here in a second you guys will see, we'll just do a little trial and error just so you can see a little bit of like what we're doing here. But the goal is to get a perspective for someone that has never been to this beach. This is a public beach area, and so we're gonna give you an idea of what it would look like to get that public beach access and what that first person perspective would be. So for this shot, we're just doing a straight walk all the way to the beach. And this is gonna be a long one. But what we will find is with a lot of these, I'll end up doing roughly about 3 or 4 takes of each shot. And then we'll actually make our way out to the dunes as well. We need to get shots of the dunes. We need to get shots with the drone, which we have the drone right here, the DJI Mavic, old school. Everything will be shot in 30 frames per second. It seems to get the best results. We got a bunch of ND as well because that's an absolute must, whether it be the drone or the camera. But here's a glance into how I'm gonna tackle this. And I can't show you guys the final product because I'm actually delivering it to another production company, MPI Productions. Shout out Dalton and his gang for having me do this. But I can at least give you a little bit of a perspective and maybe some of the shots that don't make the cut so you can get a little bit of an understanding of what we're doing. All right, so for this portion, I do need to get some photos of the beach. And one thing that they recommend is they want big wides, which I get because a lot of this stuff I think is gonna be used for like banners. And so we'll get a couple shots just entering. And I end up taking a ton of photos. That way the client has quite a bit to select from. That way you don't ever feel like you show up and you don't have enough. More is always better. So also at this point, we've already shot a little bit of the video footage. We did the little like walk up right here. We're on the gimbal, we'll get that shot, and then it reveals the beach, which you guys are seeing. And actually, I like how this visually looks, so I'm gonna probably get a photo here. And you guys can see what that approach kind of looks like, if this even works. But I'll get here. Okay. And then they do want a couple of shots that's just like some of the greenery. And so a lot of times what I've been doing is I'll just come up to a sand dune like you see here and we'll get some. Okay, so we got that. Now, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check some of my footage and then we're gonna fly the drone because it's not that windy right now. And then we'll go back and film some more footage. And there's a good chance not only will I film here, I need to get an Atlantic Beach shot, which is right up the street. So that's kind of our approach here so far. And yeah, man, getting paid to be out at the beach, whether it's a lot of money, a little bit of money, I can't tell you, everyone that I've like walked by so far, we all have like the biggest smile on our face because it's like 70 something degrees out. We're at the beach, it's sunny. I should have actually brought the tank top. I might have it in the car. But yeah, man, getting paid to be at the beach, give me a break, sign me up, let's go. Okay, so I made a royal mistake. This is pretty much amateur hour, but I totally forgot the drone cable to connect from the actual drone remote to the cell phone. So we're walking back to the car now, not ideal because I will say this, because we're just out in the public, I can't really just leave my gear somewhere, so I need to pack everything up. Luckily, we don't have too much stuff, but go back to the car, get that cable, then we're gonna fly that drone, go get a couple more pickup shots, and then I'd say we're getting pretty close to being done. So once we were able to get the cable for the drone, of course we knocked out the drone shots. But overall, I want to kind of give a diagnosis or like my observations and kind of guidelines in regards to this particular type of filming. Now, one thing on the table that was an absolute must is when we were contracted to go out and film this type of video, it was pretty much given that as few people and as few clouds as possible. It needs to be a sunny day. And if you're wondering how long something like this took for me to particularly film, I'd say I did Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville Beach, and Atlantic Beach. And each time that I went out there, I would say the filming process took anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Now that was to do drone flights and shots, that was to do gimbal shots, and that was also to do photography. Now typically my strategy was getting the video shots first, and then once I kind of got an idea of what I really liked, then I would bust out the camera off of the gimbal, get my photography shots, and then when all that was done, I would get drone shots. Also, one of the clients' requests were they wanted long down the beach shots, perspectives for people that had never been to that particular beach. So a lot of the drone shots that I got were really just honing in on the viewer perspective of looking down the beach so that they could see where their house is, was there more commercial, you know, things of that nature to give them an understanding of what they might be kind of walking into or possibly signing up to visit. But also, I will say the reason that it took maybe an hour to 2 hours was a couple of these shots, if it was the main walk-in shot or walk up to the beach and then kind of revealing it, a lot of times I can't ask people to get off the public beach. So you're going to have to give yourself a time frame where it's like, okay, I got my shot. There's a lady laying there on her towel, not the best visual, so I'm gonna have to come back an hour from now to get that. I also found that, you know, a lot of times you need to get the perspective that's the most beautiful and cinematic, but you need to understand that a lot of these walkways have trash cans, a lot of them have signs, a lot of them are even rusted out, so you need to kind of evaluate and figure out what's going to be the best visual. And that's another reason why it's just, you can't just walk out there, start filming and think, wham, bam, I'm gonna have it. A lot of these, I even had to actually go out and scout ahead of time because some of the public areas, while they might look good, then when you get out there and you kind of see it, you're like, this is not gonna be worthy for the particular client. So I will give a small disclaimer. I would say scouting was one thing that can really help you out, whether it's on Google Earth, Google Maps, but a lot of times I had to physically just drive out there to see the places, take mental notes, take some photos, and then know, okay, on shoot day, this is exactly where I'm gonna go and where I'm gonna dedicate all my time. Now, as far as some of the other battles that you're gonna come up against, you're gonna need to have ND filters, whether it's on your camera itself or whether it's on your drone, which I actually don't have, but you are not gonna have a fighting chance at all filming out at the beach when it comes to getting sunny, bright days with no clouds. If you don't have ND, you're just not having a chance. Now, is this the hardest project I've ever done? Absolutely not. Out in the sun, having fun, flying the drone, having a good time, getting really cool footage. And as mentioned in the video, everyone that I walked by, absolutely thrilled to be out there. But if you're tackling something like this solo, you're most likely gonna need a gimbal. I would recommend even bringing your tripod. Now that wasn't very convenient, but of course I had it in the car. You're gonna need a drone, and then you're gonna need a camera capable of taking good photos. But if you're filming with a nice camera, most likely it's gonna have the capability of taking really nice photos. And, you know, tackling it as a one-man band, you just need to figure out your location, scout ahead of time. You need to have a little bit of understanding of what your strategy. Are you going video first, photo first, or drone first? And you need to make sure to really figure out weather, because for most of my drives, I'm driving at least an hour out there, an hour back. It's just not really worth it to get all the way out there and then it be a crappy day.